In an interview, the single most important thing is that your selection committee walks away with a small number of most important points that you have communicated over the course of that interview. Now, what makes this particularly hard in an interview is, typically speaking, you do not have enough time. Generally speaking, it's like an hour for the whole dang thing. So you have to be really punchy. You have to be extremely pointed. So what we do when we work with our clients is we have them figure out what points they need to make. And for each point, they are making that point and then expanding on it with whatever time that they have. And then they are distilling that point down to a single, concise, focused recommendation. Now, we didn't make this process up. We learned from Aristotle. Aristotle came up with this concept thousands of years ago. He said, you got to tell him what you're going to tell him, then tell him, and then tell him what you just told him. Of course, he said that in Greek. We translated it to modern English. So our process when we work with clients is to take each topic and help them figure out what their point is by boiling it down to its most concise story structure. Once we all understand what that core point is, we give them the time and the freedom to expand on that, to cover the details that they want to get to, that they think is important for clarity and for understanding. Talk about projects from the past that can play as success stories that inform how they're going to tackle this project that they're talking about today. So there's a fair amount that they can expand on. The limitation, of course, is the amount of time that they have. Once they do that, once they have expanded on this stuff, it's really important to come back to the main point and distill it down to what we think of as a single sentence recommendation. And the reason for doing this is if you don't distill it down to this recommendation, if you just make your point and then expand on it and then move on to your next point, everything that you just said will likely get lost. Too much time has passed since you made the point at the beginning of this topic. You got to come back to that point and distill it down to a single memorable statement. So if you're looking for an example of what I'm talking about, re-watch this whole video. I have structured this whole video to follow the process. The next time you get ready for an interview, we recommend making the most impact on your selection committee, giving them what they need in a memorable, concise way by following this process. Make your point at the beginning, expand on it to the extent that you can where you have the time, and then distill it down to a single recommendation.